Hey, soul seekers, it is clairvoyant, intuitive energy guide, and source energy channel. Kathy Weiss here. Welcome to this week's episode of Monday Messages. It is a gorgeous, sunflowery, mermaid kind of day over here on the central coast of California, where I am coming to you live from my reading room. And oh my goodness, team, we have got all kinds of yummy things to talk about and share with you today. At any time, if you have questions or comments, shoot them down there in the comment area. Even if something comes up to you later and you're watching the replay, still shoot me a question or comment and I will 100% respond to you. So, lots of things to go down today, but I just wanted to start off with this gorgeous crystal or stone is a really deep purple, and I'm trying to get it to catch the light enough that you can see it's sort of like striated a little bit. And it's so interesting because I don't really recall picking it up and bringing it into the room with me. And then I just looked down and I was like, hey, this is Purple's cat's eye. And it kind of like matches this gorgeous purple of the mermaid deck. And so I thought that I would just start off because it is in the weekly energy charge up, which if you follow me either on Facebook or on Instagram, on Mondays, I'm shooting you guys energy charge ups. And this Purple's Cat's Eye is about strength of mind, number one. But for a lot of us, what it's helping us to do is take any negative thoughts that we're experiencing and transform them into positive ones. And this is a yogic concept as well called Praktipaksha Bhavanam. And really, there is a lot of creative power in your world and in your life when you catch yourself having a negative thought and you transform it to something more positive. And it doesn't even have to be a one-on-one. It can be anything like, oh my God, grumble, grumble, grumble. But like, hey, those sunflowers are gorgeous and amazing. So there's lots of ways that you can transform a negative thought. And that's what we've got this awesome purple cat's eye hanging out with us for today. But we're going to dive into it being story time this week. And I'm so excited because I love it when I get to tell you stories. And if I'm not being clear or I start to go off on a tangent or something, like shoot me a question or a comment to help us stay on track or to clarify or whatever you need. So if you've been following along, especially during the month of June for 2019, we have all been experiencing this massive, massive energy of change. And in the first couple of weeks of June, it felt like it was an 11 out of 10 in the intensity zone. And then last week it kind of dropped down to about an 8. I feel like we're coming down around 7. And as we wrap up June and head into July, that intensity is going to hover around 4. So we're still going to be in a period of change all the way through the end of November, guys. So just know that things are going to continue to come up, but this like super crazy intensity of it is starting to dissipate. So I'm experiencing that change right along with you. And I know that because Monday messages are directed towards a lot of people, sometimes the messages are a little bit vague rather than when I work with people one-on-one and I give like really specific concrete things to do. So with a vague message, you have to sort of like take a step back and do a little bit of self reflection to see how the message applies to you. And sometimes, if you're new to this or you aren't familiar, you may be like, well, that sounds really lovely, but now what? So, today I get to share two different ways in which the energy of change is affecting me, not because this is the All About Kathy show, but because this is an opportunity for you to understand it on like taking it from vague to more meaningful. So the first one is just going to be like a little snippet, and then the second story will be a little more detailed. Okay, so in the energy of change, what you may have noticed if you've been following me along for a while, great. And if you haven't, also great. At the top of the messages each Monday when I introduce myself, for a while I was using some sort of language. And then I shifted into really landing on intuitive energy guide. And then today, at the top of the message, I actually started off with clairvoyant, intuitive energy guide, and source energy channel. And that for me is really indicative of something that is a result of the energy of change. A couple of weeks ago, what happened for me, and this is where clairvoyance come in because I get images in my mind to describe what's happening energetically. It was like there was a steel cylinder all around my throat, and it had been there a real long time, like probably my entire life in this um, physical experience. And I had this sense of it like opening up. Zoop, and there's a little bit more to it than that. But the fact that it happened was like, boom. Because the throat chakra, guys, is all about communication. And it was like all of the sudden, all the things I'd ever been choked up on, all of the things I couldn't say or express for whatever reason are now liberated and 100% free, which means at this point, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it all. And if someone doesn't like it, whatevs, right? And so that's why I'm adding in clairvoyant and I'm adding in source energy channel. And if you don't know what those are, or you're curious and want to know more, tell me because I'm happy to explain it. Or if you're like, dude, Kathy, we don't even care what you want to call it, just give us the juice, that's good with me too. So here's the second story, and this might be a little bit more concrete for you. So we all have tools and techniques and ways of being in the world that serve us until at some point when they don't. And there's two things that really work for me or have worked in the past. And one is I have this awesome vision board. And my vision board, the purpose of it is to help me see and visualize and gain clarity around the things that I'm working towards in the future, or things I'm desiring and want to manifest. And so this gorgeous vision board, it has pictures of my husband and I hugging koala bears in Australia. And I cut up a t-shirt that said, oops, I cut up a t-shirt that said Brisbane and put that on there. And there's like piles of money and all kinds of cool things. And then right next to it is like what I call my business annex. And on that, it has all the things that I'm desiring and manifesting as far as my work as a clairvoyant intuitive energy guide and source energy channel. And what I would do is hang out in front of them and like look at it and feel it and be like, oh yeah, that feels good. I'm excited. I can see myself doing these things. And then I also have a temple or an altar. And since January 1st, this altar has been the altar of Australia. So for those of you who don't know, my husband and I are planning on moving to Australia in a handful of months. And to help that manifest, I've been stepping into the feeling of it in the present moment. So there's another picture of us with koala bears and a picture of a house we'd love to live in. And there's a little like, I don't know, like a little koala bear pinchy thing on there and some Australian money and an affirmation that I created around that. And every day for 5 minutes, I set my timer and I would like see myself like driving a car up to that house, like getting home from Costco or seeing friends coming over to visit and seeing myself volunteering at the koala sanctuary and just like love and joy and happiness. But something interesting happened during this energy of change because these are things that I'm working towards manifesting, but they haven't manifested here in the present moment yet. And I started to notice that during this time when I should be like, oh, like feeling like myself there, instead I was feeling contraction and I was feeling fear and I was feeling like pinched off and like sad and frustrated and impatient. And so in this energy of change, I was like, this all has to go, every last bit of it. So in a moment, let's say I had a very big moment where everything came off of the temple. Everything came off of my vision boards. Not only that, I took my vision boards off the wall and put them in a closet. I was like, I cannot even with any of this right now. And I put it all away because it wasn't serving me anymore. It wasn't helping me visualize the future. It was actually cutting me off from it and making me feel yucky about it. So all that went away. And now, instead, what I do in the mornings, because I do believe in taking a moment or five before we start our days, and, before we log on and get into email and messages and all of that. So now I just set a timer on my phone, and for 5 minutes, I look out the window and I watch the birds, and the deer. There's usually deer out there too. Um, and and I've been doing that every day for not quite a month now. And something's changing and something shifting, and I'm starting to feel an energy of expansion and an energy of relaxation. And it makes me think of something that I heard Elizabeth Gilbert say recently, which is that the most powerful woman in the room is a relaxed woman. And so instead of getting anxious and freaked out about things that haven't happened yet, I'm just relaxing. And it feels so much better and so much more peaceful. And so change and the energy of change is about trusting those impulses, because that day that I was having a moment and I needed to take down my vision boards and my temple and like put it all away, I was not 100%, guys. I was not in the energy of a relaxed woman. I was in the energy of like, I'm kind of losing my shit and I need to like deal. But I trusted that in doing that, something good would come. And in those days and couple of weeks where I was sitting there with my tea, looking out the window for 5 minutes, that something would transform, that something would change. And it wasn't like, oh, day one, I'm a relaxed woman. I feel open and expansive. It took some time, and it took allowing, and it took not having an agenda, right? I was just sitting there. And so that's where trust inside of change comes from. And over here in my notebook, guys, we're on notebook number 2 for 2019. So much good stuff is coming through. There is an entire bonus channeled message about trust that's going into your email today. So make sure that you read that. And if you're not on my email list and you want to be, you can either private message me your email address and I'll add it to the list, or you can pop on my website, kathy-weiss.com, to subscribe. And what's cool about subscribing right now is that you can also get a free mini reading. You've got about a week and a half left on that before some things change around on there. But you can get on my email list to get this bonus message about trust. But the big thing that I want to leave you with is to know that it's okay for something that used to work for you, whether it's something like my vision board and temple example, or whether it's a relationship or a job or a habit or like a workout class or something. It's okay that that used to work for you and maybe it doesn't anymore. It doesn't mean that that was bad or wrong or ineffective. It just means that things change and things cycle. And so I'm grateful for those vision boards. I've used them for years. And probably I will again, but I recognize in this energy of change that it was time for something to shift. So, what you need to do now is take some of these vague Monday messages and the vague-ish channeled messages, because they're meant for everyone, to start to step back and look at, how does this apply to me? How is this resonating in my life? What do I need to listen to and hear? And here's the really cool deal, guys. If you're like, I'm trying to hear that stuff, Kathy, and I can't, and it's really driving me like even more crazy than I was already. Not that you're crazy, but you know what I mean? It's like sometimes our minds, they get a little bit out of control. I have this really cool gift of being able to hear that stuff when you're not able to. And that's when you reach out to me and you book a private session, or even better, a package of 6, because we can really work over time to help you through change and transformation. And you kind of like bring me on as your guide and let me guide you through the change. Let me, and your spirit guides, by the way, and your energy lead the way. So, really, I'm hearing I need to make that clear. Like, your answers don't come from me. Your answers come through me from source energy. And so that's why I've also started using the word source energy channel, because the information that comes through is in direct response to your energy from source. Okay, so it's pulling a lot of wisdom out that a lot of times I'll be like, I don't even know where that came from, or I would never make up that sentence in my life except in relationship to you. So know that as the intensity of change starts to back off a little, but continues to sit with us, if you're feeling uncertain or kind of still stuck about things, or even sort of like you're at a breaking point with whatever the stuff is, that's when we work one on one. That's when we take this stuff a little bit deeper and really get you not only the answers, but some direction, like a real sense of direction on how to move forward in your life. Or I'm here, there's one more word, hang on. Some of you, what you're looking for is reassurance. And absolutely, when we work together and I pull from source energy for you, I do also provide that reassurance that sometimes like the muckiness is the right place to be to propel you forward. There's a lot that could come up. Let's move on to getting you a mermaid card. So the reason why the mermaid deck really spoke to me this morning is because I think of the energy of change as sort of being fluid, right? And so as the ocean tides move in and out, like I see that image of like seaweed under the water, and it just sort of like washes forward and back a little bit. And this is how we have to be with change. It's like first we were over here and now we're over here. And neither is better or worse. They're just different, and they're coming in at different times. And that's why, like, the mermaids really were just like, that sort of like allowing yourself to go into the energy of change softly. And with that energy, like I said, of relaxation. Because if you're rigid and stiff, it's just going to feel like a turbulent storm out there. So let's grab. Anybody have a comment of where we should grab from today? I'm gonna like just like do a nice long pause to see if anybody wants to tell me if we should pull from top, middle, or bottom. Hmm? Okay. You know, it never fails that I say that and I pull and then somebody makes a comment. I'm hearing the word bottom really loud, which I rarely pull from the bottom. So let's pull from the very bottom. Oh my goodness, yearning. And this says longing for someone, undesired separation, and pining. Tiffany, bottom, thank you, because yo, I just did the bottom. I could feel that coming. So what really jumped out at me with the yearning, it's like, hey, this is like, okay, can it be like a little bit sassy pants? I just totally think of like a romance novel cover when I see this for some reason. But the word that jumped out at me is yearning. And where it says that it's longing for someone or undesired separation and pining, for those of us who are listening today, those of us who are watching this right now, the someone that you're yearning and longing for, the undesired separation that you're feeling is yourself. And I know that that could be like, oh, F you already. But I've been there. And I know that when you're longing for something really desperately, um, you almost can't see that the thing that you're yearning and longing for is this. It's your heart. It's the things that are trying to arise from within you that you're yearning for. And I call that a soul-centered life. When you can get in sync, when you can get into alignment with your heart and your soul centered life, that yearning and that longing and that pining and that almost sense of desperation or clawing for more, it just evaporates. And again, guys, I'm telling you this through experience, having been on both sides of it. And I'm hearing we don't have time for me to go into all the stories because there are a lot of them, but know that the thing, if you're watching today and yearning came up as the card, you are not yearning for like, hey, sexy time with Mr. Romance Novel Guy. You're yearning for something inside, something that is unspoken and unexpressed. And I can help you find that if you don't know what it is. More importantly, I can help you trust that. So, okay, now we're gonna like, ooh, come around sweetness. So the bonus channeled message in your email is all about trust. And the story that I told earlier was really all about trust. And what's coming up for you now, if you're watching this live or even later, it's trust. It's trusting that this, I'm pointing to my heart, I'm not sure how well you guys can see it, that the stuff that's bubbling up in your heart and your soul and your desires is valid and necessary, and that you are capable of doing it or you wouldn't have the desire in the first place. And yeah, crap takes time. And that's where you need patience and resilience. But I'm here right now to reassure you, if you are listening and you are watching, the thing that you're yearning for is 100% yours. It's correct. It's valid. Look at my face. Your guides are like, you are meant to be doing that thing. And like, if I could scream at the top of my lungs and like rattle this into your brain, trust it. There is so much change happening right now, and you've got to trust that you're on the right track. And the moment that you really just accept this stuff, like me, like I'm a clairvoyant. That was the weirdest word in the world for me 12 months ago. I'm a source energy channel. That was another one you weren't ever going to hear me say 12 months ago. But if you just accept whatever it is, I want to quit my job, I want to move, I actually am really happy the way things are, whatever it is, that yearning feeling is going to settle down. And what you're going to have instead is a sense of purpose. You're going to have a sense of direction, and things may not always be easy, but you will know and you will feel that like more of a driven sense of wanting to live the stuff rather than that sort of vague like know what I'm talking about? You do. Okay. So this message today is complete. So much good stuff came up. If you came in the middle, please go back to the beginning and watch the whole thing. And yeah, there's nothing else coming. Like I'm hearing, I love you guys. I value and appreciate you. I want you to live your soul-centered life. I want to feel that like unlocking of your throat chakra and that unlocking of your heart. And together we can get you there. Like reiteration, this message is complete. Questions or comments, shoot them out down here. Let me know. Hey guys, right now it is not quite 1 o'clock on June 24th, and there are 2 spots open for Monday minis. So if you want a little snippet that is more specific for you and your situation, and you want like a real solid piece of direction, or what I like to call action steps, like something you can actually do right now to move forward, and it's usually really simple, jump into Monday Minis, and that's just kathy-weiss.com/Monday-minis. I'll put a link in the comments afterwards, okay? I love you guys and value you guys so much. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful week, and I will see you again next Monday for another episode of Monday Messages. I love you guys so much. Bye. See you soon. Namaste.